Your hair looks pretty.
Thank you. Wish I could say the same.
You know what? You know what? I flew all the way to Connecticut to do your hair. Just remember that.
I love you.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Dark Collective podcast. And look, I'm here. Your host Jen's here. The ever so lovely, the ever so
Luscious, humble,
blonde.
so blonde.
So blonde. Jen is here.
I'm here.
We're here. So yeah, you guys, I am actually in Connecticut. So Sinners is
Like now.
like by the time this episode comes out, it will be less than a week away. Or a week away.
Give me the trash can.
So I came out here for 5 days. We actually got to go to a convention. We went to a little convention out near where Jen lives in Connecticut. It was super fun.
Yeah.
Got to meet a lot of cool people that I've actually never seen at other events. So that was really cool.
Yeah, we met a lot of people.
Mhm.
We met a couple of our authors for 2024 and then like a couple for 2025. So it's always so much fun with going to other conventions and being like, I know you.
We know you.
I know you.
And it's like funny because we walk up and we're like, hi. We're from Sinners. And they're like, oh my God, hi. Like,
because we're like, we're just like, hey.
Like, we just don't want to
we just want to say hi. I'm like, yeah, hello. And then they're like, yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay, we're going to run away now.
Just run. And yeah, you guys, since I've been here, I got to help out with some Sinners stuff, which is cool. Like, yes. I got to see some stuff. You guys are going to love it. Like, just like the little tiny things that has gone into like swag bags or what your lanyards look like or your badges. Like
the things that even like things like authors and vendors have donated swag bags. They're so good. I don't know.
I got to see Jen's storage unit where everything lives. Like you walk in and you kind of think Jen's a hoarder in her house, but it's not. It's
not my fault.
It's all Center stuff. But then you go to her freaking massive storage unit that is also full. And you guys, most of the stuff is for you, which is so rad that like authors donated. And it's like they not even just donated just stuff. They donated cool stuff.
Full shit.
Like really cool stuff.
And then it's also like stuff for at the convention or stuff for at the ball or, all those things that you don't think about. And then you're like, I need more room. And especially we're so close to Sinners. Like when Red first walked in, she didn't believe me on like how hoarded my house is right now. And she walked in, you could barely open the door. Also because my daughter's getting ready to have a garage sale at her dad's. So she had brought down all kinds of stuff to get rid of. So that was piled on top of it to go in my car to rant. But it was just so much. And then I was like, I promise most of this is going to be gone. Like, but we're making things. Like, we had to go get the swag bags and Red loved hooking lanyards to badges.
You guys, 5 hours of me just doing this. Click. Click. So those lanyards you're wearing, my fingerprints are on them. That sounded weird.
Or Riley's.
Yeah. So her daughter, she walked in and she saw what I was doing. And she's like, what are you doing? I was like, you want to help? Okay. So she literally sat down and
we watched Trolls.
We watched the Trolls movie with NSYNC. It was awesome. You guys should totally watch it.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
And I did her hair and now you guys, I've never seen a woman under the age of 18 with that much hair. So much hair.
Just so much hair.
But it's it's so beautiful. And of course, being that I'm in Connecticut, I did her hair. We just finished it literally right before this. And she's so blonde.
I'm not used to it yet.
No.
But I love it. But I'm not used to it.
She's not used to it.
It's like a smudgy dark root.
A smudgy dark root. That's going to be my new favorite term.
Smudgy dark root.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're getting there.
But you guys, we have an awesome episode. And you guys just remember, we are so excited to see you. This is actually our last author interview.
It is.
Before Sinners, but this is our last author interview. And she is one of our signing authors. So Jen, who are we interviewing today?
We are interviewing Miss Leila James. Welcome. Leila.
All right, you guys, please enjoy Miss Leila James.
Woo!
Hey guys, so please welcome Miss Leila James. Hello, my dear.
Hi.
We are so excited to have you, by the way. Are you so excited to it's happening so soon?
I know. I've been getting ready for everything, shipping boxes, all that good stuff. Like it's mildly terrifying, but yeah, I'm ready.
Feel that deep in my soul.
Yep.
The crazy thing is, when I got here, I walked in expected to see, because Jen's, kind of a neat freak. So when I walked in and just saw 18,000 boxes in her living room, I was like, cool. There's a lot of stuff here.
Because now it's like, so I have a storage unit that everything stays in, but now it's like bringing stuff over to start like packing swag bags and like start doing all those, like doing the test speaker runs and like all that. And it's just like, I'm like, my living room is a disaster.
Yep. I hear that.
Yeah.
All right, Maria, we're going to ask you some questions. So I will go ahead and get started. So let's start out with, what genres do you write?
Primarily like a dark bully romance. I do a little bit MF, MM, Why Choose, like, so I've been doing primarily bully for a long time though.
Yeah. So. Oh, that's awesome. How long have you been writing for? Like published writing?
Okay, so here's a little secret that you may or may not know. I've published first under a different name.
Really?
So technically I've been writing for about 5 years now.
Okay.
But I've only been as Leila for 3.5.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I want to have a fake name or pen name. I really want one of those just so I can,
That's fun, actually.
I know, like it. I feel like
I've actually, really, and so when y'all asked for like swag and stuff, and I was signing the back of a bunch of artwork that I sent, I was like, I have signed Leila James way more than I have ever signed my legal name. So
I love that.
That's the way it goes though with a pen name.
Right. How did you come up with your pen name? Like, did you always like the name or something else?
So technically, so the name that I wrote under first is my actual legal name. So my legal name is out there. But when I decided to write a little bit darker, at first I was not hiding it, but like I didn't feel the need for my parents to be in on that.
You're hiding it from a specific group of people.
Pretty much. Like I will tell, like if I find out that you read a little darker, like I will tell anyone what I write. But my mom doesn't need to read that, and nor do my in-laws. So that's just no.
Yeah. That's like, and my dad knows that I run a book convention. Not what kind of book convention.
Right. They all had read my other books before. So like I was mildly afraid that they would get in there and be like, what the heck?
Like, what is this? Like, what are we reading?
Yeah, but Leila James is it's actually a combination. James is actually my dad. He passed away about a year before I started actually publishing under Leila James. So I named myself partially for him. And then the Leila is actually my children's middle names mashed.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Like I've never been that creative.
No.
Wait, what's your middle name?
Lynette.
Mine's Lynn.
Mine's my actual one is also Lynn, but so my children, this is also kind of funny. My children's middle names are Luke and Leia.
Yes, I'm a diehard Disney nerd. That makes my little heart patter. Like, I love it.
Yeah. So we have the Leia, and then we stuck the extra L right in there for Luke. So awesome. Both of the children got in there. And no, my children also do not read my books.
Right. So, you're like, nope, they don't even know about it.
No.
It's so funny.
They do know. They have to know. I mean, if you see a little bit behind me,
like this is actually a room behind my sliding bookshelf that no one knows about.
Yeah, I kind of wish it was that way sometimes, but like I have a set of glass paned doors to my office, and sometimes their friends will walk in with them, and they're like,
"What is that?
What is that? There?" So it's kind of funny because we did an interview recently, and the author was talking about, and she's also very dark. And she was talking about her daughter is like 25, I think. And she was like, so my daughter read my books. And then she just kind of looked at me and said, you need Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was so funny because I'm like, but she likes her. She's like, oh yeah, she's like one of my best ARC readers. Like she gives me so many amazing things. But sometimes she like wonders where I get it from.
Like, wow.
Like, wow, Mom, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, my daughter is 21. And
okay.
Yeah.
That I know of has not read. That I know of. Like, for all I know. She has her own Amazon account at this point.
She's actually like your biggest fan. She just won't admit it. She's like,
how would I know, right? But she pretty consistently tells me that her friends really, really, really want to read my books. And I'm like, well, they're adults. So
you're like, I can't tell them not to. Do whatever they
want. Have at it. But don't look at me weird.
Right. So what got you into dark bully romance?
You know, I knew, for one, the whole reason why I changed up from one pen name to the other. It wasn't like really to hide what I was writing for most people.
Yeah.
It was more that like I wanted something different to try because what I was writing wasn't doing what I wanted it to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want people to read our books, right? So if nobody's reading, it's like, what's going on here? And
Yeah.
so it's just, I find regular contemporary just really, really hard to break into. So kudos to those who can just get in there and make it work, but it would not work for me. And so I was like, well, you know what? I think I'm just going to try this other genre that is just kind of creeping in and give it a shot and see what happens. And so I tried that. It was with my first darker series, Rosehaven Academy. And that one did pretty well. And so I just kind of kept going from there. I was like, well, this is way better than anything I've managed so far. And then we hit Kingston University and I was like, wow, that's a lot different. Those
like
White Shoes readers, they are voracious.
So I love it though, because it's a lot of academia, you know what I mean? And I think people are so obsessed with that right now. Like a good academia, dark romance, like what do you love most about that? Like what brings you into that world? And you're like, God, I love this so much.
You know, it's really weird because like every time I started writing something, it was just about where my daughter was actually in life at that time. Like not that she was going through any of this weird darkness.
You're like, just putting
that
out there.
When I wrote Rosehaven Academy, she was a senior. She was the same age as my characters. And I was like, that's a little weird. And then, you know, by the time I get to do Kingston University, yep, she's in college. So, but no, I just like, and I was also a teacher for a lot of years. So I kind of relate to the whole school thing, but like, I love the darker atmosphere of it. Like, I love a good backstory, like a good tortured backstory a lot. I think that brings a lot to books when people aren't just like happy, go lucky, like
all the time.
Not rainbows and flowers. We want thunderstorms. Now lightning.
We want all of that.
It's so true though, because like when it comes to like I read my very first Dark Academia, I think it was like 2 years ago, and it was a huge series, and I was not prepared to how much I would love it. I thought I was like, oh, this is gonna be weird. It's like dark romance and college. Like, am I gonna like it? Oh my God, I couldn't put it down. Like, and it's just that world building on top of that, and you do get that tortured backstory, you know, and it's kind of cool how it comes together, because then you're like, you're so tortured, but I'm obsessed with you.
Well, and I really didn't see it go. I was actually had only planned for Brothers of Hawthorne Hall. That like that's where I was starting. That's where I thought it was done, was a trilogy. And then every time I tried to write a trilogy, it just kept spawning more characters. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is more than what I thought it was. So then the world building, you're right, is just,
well,
comes
I feel
out of
like
nowhere.
with academia, you end up having like, there's so many ways that you can go with it, because I read a lot of academia, and it's like, oh, you can bring in like your little side characters and see how they do. Oh, you can bring in parents and then tell their backstories. The teachers, I've seen authors like do their backstory. So you can take it, like your trilogy can end up turning into like 37 books. So that's how it goes.
Well, mine hit 9. And I was like,
I love that though. It's like 3 trilogies in one. It's great.
Yeah, and they all kind of run on that concurrent timeline. So
it
was like, okay, it just kept getting more and more complicated. And I was like, this has got to stop somewhere, because I'm dying.
I don't know how y'all keep track of everything, because if I tried to write a book, it would have so many plot holes. Nothing would make sense. So
oh God. And I try so hard to not to have the plot holes, but when everything started interconnecting and I was weaving everything together, it was just a madhouse up in here. Like, we'd be going back, searching through 9 different manuscripts, trying to find, like,
You're like, what was that
did
one
I say that?
description that I
Like,
did back in book 2?
what do they look like? Like,
Yeah.
what the heck is going on here? But it can get really, really complex the bigger it gets, and it just kind of mushrooms into something like I never would have thought it did. And
so I have to ask you a question though about like, just because I'm very new to the book world. I've said this in almost every episode. I've only been here
yeah.
for 2 years. She has explained a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
I learned what a trigger and a trope was a year ago. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Okay.
So I've talked to a lot of authors, and a lot of authors do it like one of 2 ways, where they talk about how they plot first, then add the dark and the steamy, or they find out the darkest, the steamiest, then they plot around that. Like, where do you fall in that?
So
or does it vary?
Usually consider myself a plotter.
Okay.
Like on this desk behind me that I cleared because it had all of my little note cards all over it for my current project. I usually have things kind of an idea where it was going. Like with Hawthorne Hall, I knew what the ending, like I knew what was happening. I knew where that particular character that's in the blurb that's disappeared, I knew where he was. And I just you kind of have to go in, and I don't know. I thought I'd have the plot, and then I'm like, I feel like I'm missing a scene. What's missing here? And like I get in there, and then we spawned an entirely new set of characters because somebody was like, what could you do there? Because I do a lot of like bouncing of ideas with my PA, with my work wife, like, and we're all like chatting back and forth. And somebody along the way said, well, what about like a scene, like a fraternity auction, and they're auctioning off these girls? And I'm like, okay. And so that just, it evolved into like this entire other trilogy where you take the literal villains from the first books and they become the heroes in the second, and you find out why everything happened the way it did in the first set of books. And it's like, and it all kind of linked together. And then I think when I brought in like everybody saw the third trilogy coming as well, because we were like, who are these guys that are at this like cage fight thing? Who are these guys? And they were like, we knew it. You're going to bring them in. I'm like, yeah, I am. And then,
like,
but I don't think anybody saw the fact that it was so connected to what had happened in both of the first 2 trilogies. And to be honest, I didn't know either until I got in there. And I have a whiteboard over on the far side of my office, and it had the most complex, like just map of characters that I think I've ever seen. And that was for that third trilogy, The Brutal Boys of Sin. And it was wild because it brought in all these new characters, plus they were all connected to all the old characters. And it's like, okay, my brain is going to throw up and explode all at once.
Like, help me.
Crazy.
Help me.
Yep.
Just like hell. No, I get that. Like it's one of those things, like I could never do what you guys do. I am so in awe of authors. I think it is so cool how you build these worlds and do these things, because I barely remember what a formula is for a client that I did yesterday. Like I'm just like so in awe of what you guys do, and it's impressive.
Sometimes I don't remember what I did yesterday.
Perfect. So I don't feel alone.
No, but I probably read my manuscripts thousands of times before they ever release. So it's like, okay, I'm tired of this now.
Right.
But hopefully it helps that I don't end up having plot holes or anything weird going on by the time I'm done.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite character that you've ever written? Or do you have one? Or multiples? Do you have like a couple?
Okay, so I'm in the middle of writing books 46 and 47 right now. So that's a big question.
Yeah.
Wait, in 3.5 years?
Well, so the 47 includes the first pen name, but in 3.5 years, there have been about 25 books. But anticipating this question, I gave it a lot of thought. And like, if first my work wife said bear.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yes, and I do love Bear. It helps that I love the model that's on there too, and not
Pretty.
just for his looks. Eric is a really sweet guy, like very nice. But when I was shown that image, I was like, well, I mean, he fits right in. He's even got the Kingston University lion on his arm in a tattoo. Like, how could he not be Bear?
He has to be
No,
Bear.
but I love a good protector. And like in the first books, he seemed really just not nice. But then you dig in and you find out his past and you find out what's going on. And like, he's more like a teddy bear than he is a grizzly. So I did just love writing Bear and having him throughout the whole entire series, actually, because he appears in almost all the books. I also really loved Archer. Archer's
I love that name. Archer is such a good like character name for me, especially in dark romance, because I'm just like, shoot me with your arrow. I know that sounds so dumb, but it's just like my weird brain how it works. Like,
and dude he was like a little cheeky and funny, but super smart. He's like a computer, like sciencey type nerd. Like just really funny dude. But then like he also had some really dark moments, and I was like, whoa, that was interesting.
You're like, where'd that come from, Archer?
Little fun to see that. I think I will probably always also love Kingston just because he was the first cover and he's like the alpha male of that first group. So I love that. And then if I had to pick a female, this one's a little bit more obscure, but Arya from Queen Rose.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, because she has the absolute best character arc, if I do say so myself. When people read Savage Rose, which is where she first appears, everybody hates her. I literally just got a message from a reader who had gone through all the Kingston University books and like plowed through those. She's like, okay, what else you got? And I was like, well, you could try this one. It's not why choose like you like, but it is bully and it's dark, and just see what you think. And she's starting to read. She goes, I hate this Arya girl. I hate her. And I was like, well, she's the cover of the 10th book. So what you think by the time you get to the end.
Oh, you're like, hopefully you love her at the end. You will. I know it.
So you have this like, I mean, seriously, a crazy library of series, but I mean, obviously you love to write them. Do you like to write them more than standalone, or do you prefer one or the other, or do you like both?
I have actually never been able to write a standalone.
No.
Never.
That's like the story just needs more.
It just needs more.
Yeah. Where I started with contemporary, it was kind of contemporary, small townish, and like I would write a series of like 5, and then I'd do a spin-off because I couldn't leave them. And like they were all interconnected, which was super fun. But then I hit Rosehaven and I did kind of duets combined into a series. So it was 10 books, but 5 individual couples. But it was this huge, long story. So by the time you get to Arya's at the end, it was really kind of like, oh my God, like I had no idea. And people were like, I'm so sorry, Arya.
Like, I didn't mean it. I take it back.
I didn't mean to hate you. Why did I hate you? But yeah, so I actually after I finished that series, I promised myself I was only going to write a standalone. I ended up writing a trilogy after that. That's the Shadow River Elite series. Yeah, I wrote one book and then I was like, but I like these other, because I had these, it was that was a college level and they were actually in suites. So 3 of them in each suite across the hall from each other. And of course they each ended up connecting with somebody across the hall. And I was just like, I can't not tell their stories. So I just continued. And then we started Kingston and like, I just kept going. And then what I'm writing right now was also supposed to be a standalone because Wilder at the end of that 9-book series kind of broke my brain by the end of it. And I'm like, I just need something a little bit lighter. And I need for it to just be a standalone. One and done, do it.
And your brain said, nope.
No, it's a duet. And not only that, it's not MF either. So I was like...
So you just have to give yourself a challenge naturally. And that's,
really. And
we love it. We're into it, so your readers must be like obsessed.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's like, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So are you working on anything new right now?
Yes. So it's that duet. Let me see what I can tell you without giving too much away. I just in my reader group on Facebook came out that the title of the first book is This Is War.
Ooh.
And it is another like university set book. It's MMF because I can't help myself. I love a good MM. Like there's and if you didn't know, there's MM in all the Kingston. Like once I wrote, okay, so back up. In Rosehaven Academy, I have one MM duet, and I loved them so hard that I was like, I really want another MM. So it's appeared in, I had MMFM in both the first two of the Kingston University series, and then I had MMMF in the final one, which was very tricky and fun. But so literally when I got in here to this one, I was like, well, I think it's this. And then I was like, nope. There's a stepbrother. And like, that's where because I was like, I'm not writing a friends to lovers. I've got to write a friends to lovers that also has a bully / enemies to lovers and a stepbrother involved.
Yeah. The only time I really like friends to lovers is if it's like they were childhood friends and then they had a horrible falling out. Yeah. And then now they're coming back together, but it's already bully because they hate each other now. Like that's the only thing it's like technically could be considered. It's like friends to enemies to hating each other to lovers.
Yeah. So while I have friends to lovers in this one, like it's like I guess the best way to describe it is a love triangle that moves into the MMF relationship. So it's still not that I'm close to 60,000 words in, and I don't know. There's no way I'm ending it in like 20,000 words. So it's like, well, I guess there's just another one, and that just means I have another delicious cover that I'll have to have done.
More delicious models. Yay. So excited. So, I mean, you write a lot. You have a lot of books. And I'm, again, so impressed by how you're doing it because that is absolutely insane. So when you are not writing, you've talked a little bit about your family, but what do you do outside of writing?
Well, aside from the kids, and they're both in college now. So like during the year, they aren't here anyways, but a lot of reading, which some of it for research, some of it not. I happen to love the Forsyth University series from Samantha Rue and Angel Lawson.
Yes, very amazing.
Love that one. And I know they're gonna be there at the event.
We were like,
very excited.
When they signed up, I literally screamed. I was like, because I've read them for years. And
they might be why I signed up.
Yeah, right. I'll take it.
Yeah, I was like, do I want to do this? This looks scary. It's all the way in Boston, but they're gonna be there. So yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. Maybe, But other than reading, probably like binging entire television series at once.
Same.
Like when I get into like a spot where I have a little bit of free time, I'm like, well, you got to watch it all at once because once you start writing again, you're
gone
out. Yep. So yeah, so I do a lot of binge watching of TV. We like movies a lot too.
We just went and saw Deadpool last night.
Yeah, we just saw
good. Oh, so good. The soundtrack alone was just everything.
Fight scenes, the soundtrack was so good.
Love
I'm actually binging really Dexter right now because my husband's never seen it. I know.
Oh, wow.
And
so he's like, oh, well, what happens here? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you. You don't need to know that. But,
to
be fair, I binge series, but I am the worst at finishing a series. I've only actually finished like three like TV shows.
Oh my gosh.
3 of them ever. Because I just like Dexter. I got to the last season, like 2 or 3 episodes in, and I just stopped. Because I was like, I don't want it to end. I do it all the time.
Maybe that's forgivable then. Maybe.
Yeah.
If it's because you didn't want it to end.
Yeah, I just don't want it to end. I'm like, I'm not ready to say goodbye. And I never finish it. Some horrible. So what's something that you wish you would have known, like way back when you started your author journey? Like advice that you could give yourself now? Or then?
I think the first thing that I would have liked to have known before I started was that writing is the easy part.
Really?
Really?
I could have
Oh, like-
used a degree in graphic design and marketing.
A
I'd
lot
love
of people
to know
don't
why
realize
my
how much goes into publishing your book. Like there's so
especially
I didn't
indie.
even until I
Yep.
started this, and like, you know, we work on the
Yeah.
anthology and talking to our author
Yep.
friends, and we're just like, there's so many things that like as a reader I just never would have even thought
Yeah.
of.
Don't even realize that it's there. And I'm like, why don't my Facebook ads work? I don't know. Like, I don't know. They just
Like,
reject it.
And you were not the first person, because we love this question. We ask everyone these last two questions, and marketing is honestly probably our biggest answer is know your marketing, know, you know, like know how to market yourself, but also your work. Like it's really interesting.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And I think, you know, since my ads don't work and I can't figure it out, because I don't know why, but I tend to invest in my covers instead, because I know covers are a big draw for people. And so that's just what I've chosen to do, and it seems to work. So
yeah. I mean, the amount of money that I will drop on covers just because it's pretty and I have no idea what the book is about. I'm just like, oh, it's dark romance or it's spicy and it's got a pretty cover. Here you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just honestly learned about like special editions, and like, you know, like I was like, what's a foil cover? And she just looked at me just like that. Because again, I didn't know. But then when I got to see them in person and touch them and look at them, and I was like, now I know why people buy books solely on covers, because of how pretty they are.
Yeah. And I will not deny that I have photographs for books that I don't know what they are yet. I just have pretty photographs, and I'm like, where will I use you?
You're like,
and
someday I will use you.
Someday.
Right. So I bought one for this particular book that I'm writing right now. And then I realized it was a duet, and I had to go hunting for another photo. And in the meantime, I found other ones that I liked. So I bought those too. And I was like, okay, now you got 4 photos beyond this duet. Like, you need to stop right now.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, it's not good. And those special editions, which, by the way, I just got the special edition and the proof of it for the book, the one that I'm bringing.
Show it to us.
Do you want it? Like, I do have to warn you, it's not safe for work. Do you still want me to show
We're
it?
explicit. It's
I
fine.
just pull their whole thing.
I know.
Are you ready? I will show you, because whoever gets to watch this, like, nobody else is going to see it until I show up at the event with it. So here it is.
Oh no, it froze.
Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed.
Oh, he's big.
Oh, he's thick.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to
And like the little bite mark from Canon biting her tush that's in the book is in there. Yep. Kingston and Archer on the front.
I'm obsessed with it.
With suspenders. Yes. So yeah, it's
very proud. Very
it's
proud.
Like a
right now.
dictionary.
I love it. That like is literally like a dictionary. It's huge. She's chunky.
It's like 6 pounds.
How many books is it? Is that just one? Is that 2?
It's 3. It's the trilogy, the first trilogy. Yeah.
But that's
somebody asked me if
there were. Are you writing trilogies? That thing.
Somebody asked if all of Kingston, like 9 books, would be in there. I was like, it would be 3 times this size. It's like 878 pages. I was like, no, we cannot fit all 9 in one book.
Absolutely not.
No way. Yeah.
Well, this is the first for me. I've never seen a single book with all 3 books in one.
Really?
No, I've never seen that. That's so cool.
Omnibus.
Well, I don't look at your shelf all the time. Jesus. But yes, I think that's so cool. And like, I've read a book before, because I'm more of a kid. I travel a lot. So I have a Kindle just because it's hard for me to bring books with me. And I read this one book and I was like, oh, wow, I read it in like 4 days. That's cool. And then I was in a bookstore and I literally saw the book and I was like, it's that thick. Like, how did I do that? So I love the feel of a chunky book. That's why I'm excited for the anthology, because I'm like, I just want to feel it.
Big books. I love big books.
I know.
Me too. It's so beautiful.
They are. So Speaking of, the convention, you're bringing that book, which anybody who watches this gets to see it first on here on the podcast.
That's what I'm most excited about for Sinners Stardust.
Exactly. So what are you most excited about for Sinners and Stardust?
I think actually
Angel
because
Lawson.
it's
Angel
actually
Lawson.
there's so much, but this is my first signing ever.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So like, thank you. Very excited about that, to see how everything works. That's probably why I ask all sorts of bizarre questions. I try to hold them actually to other authors.
Aww.
Like, can you help? I don't know what I'm doing. But I would say, meeting readers and other authors is really exciting. I'm not gonna lie, my PA is coming, as is my work wife, and I have actually never met either of them in person either. So
that's so cool.
They're going to be there with me too. So yeah, I'm very excited about all that.
Hey, that's how we met.
That's how we met online. I bought one of her sweatshirts because one of my clients knew I was getting into reading and smutty reading at that. And so the sweatshirt, she's like, Fred, this is so you. It says thick thighs, stabby vibes, add to cart. And so I literally, every time I buy something from Etsy or a small business, I always send a message, because I'm a small business, just something I do. And usually I'm really professional, and I'm like, thank you so much for creating such an amazing thing. I love it so much. Thank you for being amazing. With her, I was just like, your shit is so dope. I love it. Like, cursed up a storm. And we just kind of like started dating online is the best way to describe it. And my husband's like, oh my God, who are you talking to?
He thought that she was going to get murdered, because I was like, after like a month, I was like, hey, do you want to fly to Florida and be my assistant at a book convention? And she was like, absolutely, I do.
And then my husband's like, you're going to be ketamine and it's going to be bad. And I was like, I'm fine. It's totally fine. And here we are. And here we are. A year and a half later.
There you go. I mean,
I swear, book friends are the best.
It's been like a couple of years. Savannah has only been my PA, I think, coming up on 2 years this fall. But like, we've known each other since, I don't know, at least 4 years. She actually won a free book in like a book giveaway that I was doing in another author's reader group. And that's how she found me. And I actually met Shauna, my work wifey, when she was doing a book release, and I was just an author that was participating in her like party that she had on Facebook, and like we just met there, and the rest is history. My husband walks by the office all the time. Are you talking to Shauna and Savannah again? Like, yes, we kind of spend half the day talking. We always have like the video for you to open, and that's how we work best. So
that's awesome. Bethany and I do that a lot with when we're working on Sinner stuff. We'll just FaceTime each other, and then it's like silent. Like Red will try to get on sometimes, and she can't do it. She'll like get on, and she's like, is this all you guys do? And I'm like, yeah, we just sit here and work, and then when we have a question, we ask each other, or we'll be like, hey, did you see this in the email inbox? Or like, hey, are you working on that graphic? Or it's just, we'll be on both 5-6 hours sometimes just working on things.
Glad to know we're not the only ones.
Yeah, no, because like I'm like the social media podcast person. Like that's what I do with Sinners. I'm not, I don't do the professional emails or the spreadsheets or the weird payment things. I worked on ribbons though. That's how I knew Bear was your favorite, by the way. But it was just like, I got on with them to work on ribbons. I was, getting everyone's colors and doing everything. And I'm just sitting there typing, and I looked down and I realized I'm still on the phone. And I was like, oh, sorry, I'm not talking. I was like, it's fine. Click, 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 click.
Back to work. We're like, okay.
Yep.
She's like, all right, I'm going to go. Call me if you need anything.
Standard. All right, Miss Leila James, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun. I learned something new today, which is always the best. And I'm really excited just to see you at the event. I kind of wish I was a fly on the wall to see you meet your PA and your work wife, but that's okay. I'll just meet everybody. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited. I can't believe it's like 2.5 weeks now, pretty much out. So I'm so excited to meet you, and your special edition is so gorgeous, and I will be getting that so fast.
Well, thanks.
But thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. And I'm so excited to see everybody in Boston. I know it's going to be a good time, and I'm sure you guys have done a great job getting ready. So
thank you.
Just sit back and relax now, right? The hardest work is done, maybe?
That's exactly what we're doing.
All right, this has been so much. Oh, and where can we find you at on social media?
I'm pretty much all over the place. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram, I'm on Threads, I'm on TikTok. I'm just about everywhere. Yeah.
Awesome. What are your handles for like Instagram or TikTok?
That's an excellent thing for me to know. It's like at author _ Leila James, I believe.
Perfect. Okay.
For almost all of them, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I looked you up just by Leila James and found you on everything when I was stalking you, so it's totally fine. I mean, that's how it is. Well, awesome. Well, thank you again so much for being here, you guys. Make sure you tune in to the Dark Collective podcast every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Please check out all of Leila James' social media content. And you guys, we will see you at Sinners in just a few weeks. Thanks, guys. Bye.